Okay, welcome back to part 2 of making a GUI in Glade Adventure. Last time we looked at adding some components, and we looked at main thing was containers here, and one of the things which is an issue and I'm struggling with is the grid method of the containers, or the other one was just the GDK box container. So we used a fixed container here, which was a lot easy to move stuff around, as we explained in the last tutorial. So this time what we're going to do is, I've just fixed it up a little bit. I've just changed the name of the pages here. I've left that as a grid, but I've made this as a fixed in case we want to add something. But all we're going to work on today is connecting up signals and starting off our Python script / program and connecting those signals so they actually do something. So we've got these components here. We've got a combo box text here. With that one we put these 3 items in here. You can fill that up with a lot more, of course. And we've got a button here called button click me for the ID, and CB ISO, so combo box ISO for the ID here. So, and remembering that this main window here, we have an ID of H window. So the signals over here we're going to connect up. So for the combo box, we're going to do on change event. So you can call this anything you want. You can call this CB changed, whatever you want. I'm going to call it on because as you type on, Glade gives you a recommended choice for the on click event or on change event in this case, and they recommend using that as the handler. So once you type that in, you do have to hit enter there, otherwise it won't stick. And then the same with the button here. So same deal, you can call this anything you want, just as long as you have the same name in your Python script application. But I'm going to call it on and then button click me _ clicked as suggested by Glade. So we've got 2 signals, one for that and one for that. One on the click event and one on the change event for the combo box. So we'll hit save here, and this is the folder I have it in projects Glade, and this is our Glade file we got here. This is Glade makes this backup in case it crashes or something. So what we're going to do is start our Python work here, and I'll just keep that up there so I can see the names of the signals. And what we're going to do is I'm going to call it main.python. So we're going to make a file called mmain.python, and what we're going to do is import a few things that we need. But before we do that, we're going to do a shebang. So we're going to shebang USR bin environment Python 3. The reason I put that there is because when we change this to executable, we can double click it and it will just open as a known program, because it's the interpreter's being defined here at the beginning. Same with bash. If you had a bash script, you'd put bash here and it'd run as the interpreter would be bash. So we're going to import GI. The thing with GI is we're going to make sure that is we're using version 3. So GI require version GDK 3.0. Now the reason for this is when we import GI, it will default to version 4 from my experience. I'm not sure if that's the normal thing, but that's just what it does. So we put this in here saying we require version 3, not 4 or not 2, or etc. And that's GNOME Toolkit version 3. So once we have that, we want to take from the GI repository repository. We want to import GDK, and GDKs, we'll use that later. Good suggestion is always to sort of comment your stuff, even if it's insignificant, even if you don't feel it's important, just comment it anyway. Import GI. One of the other things we want to do is probably show the logging here. So we want to import logging, and in that logging I'm going to import date, time, logging imports. So the logging is Python's inbuilt logging functions features, and it's a lot easier than setting up functions and procedures to log. Once this is set up, it's a lot easier. Date, time, we're going to use that to make a file name with a date and a time. Every time we run it, it will create a file name based on the date and time, and anything that happens will get logged into there, as well as display on the console. I think that's all we really need for now. So we're going to need a class. I'm going to run it in a class, I should say. We're going to call main, and we're going to initialize main using init. So let's initialize self. So there's the initialization. And we'll just come down here. On the entry point, we're going to make sure we run it as a program, or it's being ran as a program and not a script. So we go main, and then bang. So I guess what we're going to do is call main equals main, and then we run it gdk.main. Bang. So this will come over here and kick that off. But before we do that, we want to set up our logging. So we can use now, and we use date time dot now function. So this, as the program starts, our entry point's here. The first thing it will do, we'll get the date and time right now, and then we're going to use that in our file name, in our logging handler. So the logger needs a file handler. So that's what we'll do now. Handlers equals logging file handler, and then we'll give it a name. So we call it application, or we call it Arco Linux. Arco Linux app, and then after this we're going to give it the time and date. So we use now, and we're going to format that. So it's your string format time, and we're going to give it a year, give it a year, give it a month, and give it a day. And then we're also going to give it the hour, the minute, oops, and the second. And then on the end of that, we're going to finish it off with .log as a file extension, just so we know it's a log. The next thing we're going to do is logging stream. The type of handler it is a stream handler, and bang, and that should do it. So now we're going to, now we've set that parameter there, we have to actually put it into our logging configuration. basic config. So we're going to go, what are we going to do? Level first. Level equals login dot debug is the lowest level. I'll explain this in a minute. Why did I put that there? Equals debug. What else can we put in there? Formatting, I guess. Format. So this is how it's going to look when it logs. So we're going to use ASCII time as a string. We're going to use level name, so it will display debug, info, critical, whatever, warnings, and I'll show you that soon. Level name, yep, okay, we got that, and we're going to go message, bang. And then the last thing we want to do is point it to our handlers. So handlers equals this handlers here. Handlers. So now what we can do is test out our logging. Logging dot. So you got the option of info. You've got the option of debug. Warning, critical, and error. This one's just going to be an info. Starting application. Now what will happen is this will print to console, so when we run it from the console, and it will also print to this file name here that we've put in our file handler. So when it starts, when we hit the entry point here, we'll create a file name called Arco Linux app dash, and then it will get the time now, put it in this formatting .log, and anything that's, when we hit logging info, or anything higher than debug and higher, which is everything, will be logged. So if we put something like critical, and we type in here info, debug, warning, none of that will get logged, only if it meets this criteria of critical. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to keep it as debug, as that's the lowest level of logging. So that basically logs everything. So let's come up here to our class main and our initialization. So I guess we can add some logging here. Logging info, or building the GUI from the Glade file. So what we're going to do is GUI. I'm going to point. This could go anywhere. This could go USR share Arco Linux app dash Glade file, whatever it's called. But I'm just going to use a relative path here, and as you've seen up here, it's gui.glade. gui.glade. And then self builder equals gdk builder. Oop. So now we've got a builder. Self builder add from file, and we're going to use our variable which we kept the file name in. This could also be up here in a constant. We could have up here, so GUI UI file, that's probably the better way to do it. And GUI dot Glade. Remember constants. Remember constants don't change. That's why we capitalize them. So we can get rid of that now. And then we can put that here. GUI underscore UI underscore file. It's a constant. Set up here globally. Not that we needed it globally, but it is. Or we could have made a constant here, which we did kind of. So the next thing, we've done that with self, I've got this full stop there, builder. So the next thing we want to do is connect the signals. So let's do login dot info connecting the Glade signals. So basically what we're going to do is every signal or signals in here, all of these we're going to need a function for, and it needs to be the same name as this, otherwise we'll get errors. So let's just let's do that. Connect underscore signals, and then we're going to go self next one we're going to do is logging info create the main window. So we can give this any name you want. We'll just call it window for now. That equals builder, and then we're going to use the get object, and we're going to pass it. So if we come up here, we're going to pass it the ID here, H window. So that's, we're going to get the object by its ID name, which is H window. And so once we have that, we can go window. Now we're using window. Connect all the delete events. To GDK main underscore quit. And that's about, oh yeah, we've got to display it. Logging info display main window. And we go window dot show. So that will show our window now. Like I said though, when we run this we'll get an error. I'll just show you it. Because we have said we're connecting the signals here, but yet we don't have any functions with the handler name. I'll show you that now. So click right way. Logging, import logging. What have I fucked up? Oh, I put 3 G's. Yeah, okay. Take one of them away. So okay, so here we go. We blah 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 blah. Initialize self builder connect signal self attribute builder object has no attribute connect signals. Did you mean connect signals? What did I spell that? Yes. Spelled it wrong. Okay. Now you should get an error here saying that it works, but you get an error here saying handler on CB ISO change not found. So that's what we discussed here. So on the signals, we just haven't added the function yet. Besides from that, it's working. So let's go back in here. So this is our initialization section. So what we need to do is come back here, define, and it was called, let's have a look at the signal name, on CBS change. So we're going to define on CB ISO underscore changed, and it's going to take self, and it's a widget, and we're going to, what are we going to do, how are we going to do this? We're going to go text equals widget get what did they call that again? Get active text, wasn't it? Active text. So we're taking this widget, which is the combo box widget, and we're going to get the active text. So now if text is not none, meaning that there is some text there, do this, log in. Now I'll just do debug here just to show you how that looks. Debug, and combo box selection is space in there, and I guess we'll do this here as a placeholder for a string, and we're going to do text. So whatever's in text gets placed here. Text is whatever, whenever this is changed, it will get the active text and put it in here. If the text is got something in it, in other words, there's nothing, it got more than nothing in it, if it's not none, then it will debug this. We could put in here else debug no text, could not get text or something like that if we wanted to. But anyway, the other one was the button. So we go to the button here, the signal was on button click me underscore clicked. So we come back here, on btn click me underscore clicked, and the same deal, we're going to do self widget, and then we'll just do simple login here, just do a warning just for the hell of it. btn click me was clicked. Now the important thing here is indentation with Python. So you need to be 2 spaces, but also see how the initialization functions here. When we define these, we need to be outside of that and back into the main class and define it here. So just be aware of that. And in between here needs to be at least 2 lines down. So 2 lines down there. It should be 2 lines down here. And I think that should be good. We'll try it. Let's bring this up here. Let's have a look here. Okay, so we got our starting the application, building the GUI from the Glade file, connecting the Glade signals, create the main window, display the main window. So now when we change to ISO 2, we get debug combo box selection is ISO 2 or ISO 3, and if I click that, button click me was clicked multiple times, and change that to whatever you want. I think we'll leave it there for now. I think that's enough for now. I could upload this somewhere if you want it. Yeah, just say in the comments if you want to upload it somewhere. Otherwise, I think you got enough to get started with, and yeah, we'll continue on with it and add stuff, and we'll probably do threads, show you how to do threads, add it to this, and you know, execute a function in a thread, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.